Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. It's been a while since I've been down here. Thought I'd start out here. It's always nice to actually come and just have your character relax and look at the fishies. They're not around anymore, but oh, there they are, hiding in the reefs. Anyways, last time. Oh, I kind of actually forgot what we did last time because I tried recording a video and it entirely failed. I got through all of it without noticing. So I guess I can kind of show off that part of what I did. So I started out making a special suit for possibly no reason. I have no idea. Because it doesn't seem like the uranium stuff is radioactive. But before we go and show what's going on over there, we do need to get something started over here. So I managed to get myself some RTM alloy going. And so we are going to need more of these up and, for the next task that I'm going to do after this. So we're going to come over here. We need to get ready to make our our RTM coils. We're gonna make them into wires, and then use of those wires in the assembler with vanadium steel we'll get our RTM alloy coils. We just need some nichrome metal, so we'll go ahead and toss these in to the proper wire mill and not make a bunch of minuscule wires. Then we need to come over here. I had to make one of these HV liquid chrome or liquid extractors so that we could actually melt down the nichrome, because it has to be done in an HV one. And we'll grab out ourselves a container to take it down in. It does have to be the steel, because the temperature of it is higher than the aluminum can handle, I believe. Yeah, much higher. So as soon as we get the nichrome, we can take that downstairs to our assembler, where I actually already have some wires and some vanadium steel stuff ready for it. Whee. I love the jetpack. It's so much fun. And now just grab out our steel foil and our wires, the 2X ones, and dump those in here with the 16 ingots of nichrome liquid. That will start to yield us our RTM alloy blocks. Now, through movie magic, it's all done. Because I may or may not have already gotten those set up to be made too. Because I knew I was going to need them. So, we will leave those here. And we're going to have to go over into our other world, where this is where I'm going to go ahead and put them into this blast furnace, because I figured we're probably going to start moving everything over here. Might as well build a whole another one of these guys. And so there we go. Got ourselves a brand new RTM tier alloy, or not alloy, electric blast furnace. So that's pretty sweet. Now we actually do have some titanium carbide over here, which I do want to start putting that in here. We do need to go grab some argon though, which I don't think I have any over here. So I'm gonna have to go back and grab some. We're just gonna go back and grab a full stainless steel container of it. Wherever it is, there it is. I guess it's not going to be a full stainless steel one. I'm going to have to start macerating down my end stone so I can get some more. But we'll go plop that on into our input, which we've got the 4-way input, so this can become a main smelter. And eventually we can put these as inline smelters with a second one, where we can have autocrafters split into multiple blast furnaces, which is pretty awesome. Can't wait to show that setup, because when I saw that, I was like, that's actually a pretty dope way to do it. So now, all we need to do is we need to take one of those inputs, I believe set it to 2, and that should be right. Let me look at the recipe. 1 and 2, yep, and so that goes down to 33 seconds, but it will go even faster because this is a tier above. And so that's going to go ahead and do that in 17 seconds, dump it on over, and we'll start getting our titanium carbide ingots in there. And now, there is one last thing we got to do. We've got to make ourselves some titanium silicon mixture, which becomes this... Where'd it go? That's not right. Titanium carbide is what I was trying to make. That's funny. Let's go back. So we need this. This one can be made in an EV. So we need the whatever that thing is called. So we need carbon. We need 26 of the carbon. Now let's make sure we've got that. And we will do probably the same amount because we're going to get plenty of it. So now the question is, which one's faster? That one's every 9 seconds. The other one... it's every 7 seconds. So we'll do that one first. Because I believe it also takes longer to cook, and it can only be done in the this one here, since it's the only one currently with RTM alloy coils. Now, the reason, hoping I can get this all done tonight, the reason that we're looking at getting these different things is that from here, after finishing our quest with the RTM alloys, go ahead and read that little block thing talking about it. So we have RTM alloy coils raise the heat capacity to a scorching 4,500 Kelvin. These will be required in IV, but as always, you should get them earlier for coil bonuses. These coils used to be tungsteel coils. This, however, made the mod... So this was actually something that I do remember. It was tungsteel coils, and it made it easy to skip through EV straight into IV. And I guess Gregtech New Horizon was the first one to change it so that you couldn't do that. But they used TPV, so titanium, platinum, vanadium. So yeah, that's one thing that they did. Now, the other one is we did some uranium refinement last time. That's why I made the uniform. So that I got snuck right back in here because it's super easy. You basically take it, you put in your uranium here. Or not there, here. You put in your uranite. You make hydrofluoric acid, and you've got to have some fluorine in here. And then this will process in. And then separate it out into these two things, enriched uranium hexafluoride and depleted uranium hexafluoride. And then once you've got a bucket, you can pump it into the electrolyzer, have it electrolyzed, and send the fluorine back into the system. The only thing you have to keep adding into is hydrogen. As you can see, we've got a decent amount so far. And the sad thing is because there is no, what's it called? A nuclear reactor. The uranium-235 is actually kind of useless, as there's nothing to do with it in the recipes. Even if we make it into a bar, like there's nothing else to do besides make it a plate. Even the double plate just grinds back into a thing. So it's kind of one of those things where it's just not a useful thing. make plates. Same thing, you can just make it into double plate. There's literally no reason for it as of yet. So, a little bit sad. But we can take that depleted uranium and get some platinum, and we can mix that together to get ourselves uranium uranium triplatinum, if I can speak properly. What else? It said we could put it in a large chemical reactor. Oh, that's right. So that's one way to get radon for some stuff, which you do need it for this stuff, but I would rather do it through distillation of liquid ender air, as this recipe will consume your uranium, whereas you could just get it from the ender air for free, which I would rather do that since this is used for our wires. So it seems like this is done. This one has to be done over here because it requires the RTM alloy, and with the radon or the helium, it does take 40 seconds. So looking at this, it's probably going to be one of those things where it's going to take a second for us to be able to look at this. Where's our input? Got 42. So it's going to take a few minutes. So I will be back when all of that stuff is done up. We do have to make some of this monobollium silica. What is it called? Molybdenum disilicate. I don't know if that's supposed to be a silent B, so molybdenum. Sounds like it. That's right. Molybdenum disilicate. Disilicate. Wonder what the difference between disilicate and disilicate is. Disilicide. It's side, you know? If I could read, that would be helpful. But I know I did this. I think I did something else. I don't know. If I figure it out, I will be back once that stuff is done. Okay. So not quite ready for all of the other bits and bobs, but we do have our advanced alloy smelter, which just requires nichrome wire, the EV circuits, and our EV machine hull with aluminum cables. And if I just go ahead and take the thing, everything should... Something didn't get crafted. Let's go downstairs and double check some stuff. Business. I don't want to toss those in there yet because it needs to be running something down there. It said it was done. That's kind of annoying. I'll let that auto craft. But in the meantime, we got to start getting some of these whipped up. These high temperature smelting casings. So, to do that, we need our... I got 29 of these because we need 57 of those blocks. So we'll have one extra if we do the 29 of the tungsten carbide. Then we need to come over and we need to grab... I got most of it anyways. We got the HSLA steel plate, which to make the... If I could not be typing in the top bar. To make that, you just have to mix together some... You have to make Invar first. This recipe requires the Invar. But then you mix vanadium, titanium, and molybdenum together to get the HS steel. And then the titanium carbide, which is literally just titanium and carbon. We need to come on over to our number 6 which is not this one, but the next one. Throw in our frames, our HSL steel plate, which that one in particular only needs 2 of each for the craft, and then we need 4 of each of these for each craft of the high temperature blocks. So we don't have quite enough in there. We still are waiting on some of the titanium carbide, which is being smelted up in the other zone. We're just going to go ahead and let that keep going. We do need to go ahead and grab out the recipe for the heat vent, which I should have gotten everything that we whipped up for that ready. So we should have, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crafts, because we need 12 of those blocks for the multi-block structure. We need to go get our RTM coils. Apparently we only need the 24. I didn't think about that. That only adds a total of 8 of them, which honestly is perfectly fine. We are gonna also, like, what is going on with this recipe? Something's not working. Crafting, oh. Something's not getting output. No. But it's not, oh. There's a problem. Kind of forgot about that because we had to crush up something and I don't remember what it was. Okay, so those circuits are on their way now. We're gonna need ourselves a IV, or we'll do an EV input. EV. So let's do. Oh, so let's just grab the input. I forgot. We need input. Input. Hatches. So we need our. I think we're going to want to just do this one, as you're putting in a lot of different items, so we want as many options to be able to put stacks of stuff in there. Should be able to craft that now. Here we go. We need an output, or do we need an input bus? Input hatch, we need an input hatch. Don't know if we need the... Let's look at recipes. Yeah, so we're gonna need a multiple input one in the future. So go ahead and do that one. We'll grab out the titanium for it. Input, not input, titanium. Silly. Titanium. We need to craft, to pull it out because we're gonna have to craft it over here. And those go by pretty quickly. So there is that, and then I don't think it needs an output hatch. It does not need an output hatch. It needs a maintenance. So we're gonna need our maintenance, our energy hatches, and a muffler. Want 2 of those. And then we need a muffler. And the other thing is, I think for the output hatch, we're going to want a bigger one as well. If I had a HV one, I would totally do that. But the recipes are a little bit chunkier, so I don't want it to be backpiling for some reason and not be able to continue doing it, as this is always the longest part of any kind of like thing this way. So I just gotta wait for all of those to finish, which I hope I didn't disable a machine. I think I did. Hope that output is fine. I don't think I disabled an output anywhere. Oh, but these need out of the way, don't they? No? Ah, I forgot this is a problem I had earlier. This recipe needs to go downstairs. Okay. A simple mistake that keeps happening. Always check the voltage tier of your recipes, guys. We need our hatch. Go. And you put that in there. And there we go. I'll just put those two together. We can go start setting this up while we grab the rest of what we need over here. Hopefully we got enough. We got 30. What do we got left? We got 30, so not quite. We need 60 total. We're working on one. Oh, that's not good. My guess is I did not make enough. Titanium carbide. Let's go get some more. Titanium. Oh no, there's... Oh, okay. We're good. So if we got 42, we need to get to 60. So that 18. This is number 1. I always like to double check that because the amount of times I put something into the wrong one is quite insane, if you ask me. It's the worst when you only have so much of the item and you're like, please, I need it to be the right item the first time. Right there. Right into this one. That'll craft up the rest of what we need. And we can go over and assemble it. Now, the only downside is this thing does not replace the blast furnace. As the blast furnace itself has recipes to make certain bars that you cannot make in this thing. Now, what we can check, so we've got the arc furnace, we've got the rotary hearth furnace, which I don't know. Can parallel control hatches, available recipes. So this is going to be our new blast furnace in the future. But this is a while down the road. Massive structure. So this is what will replace that. This itself kind of replaces the alloy smelter as a multi-block structure that does that. However, while it does replace it, one of the other things is it does require some recipes to either be previous done in the blast furnace. Like, the thing is I don't think you can make recipes for that one. So you can make this one in there. However, to get to titanium, you still need your blast furnace to get the rutile out towards that. And then there's a couple other ones I noticed that the only way to get it is through the blast furnace, so you still do need a blast furnace. It's not an option. Kind of crazy how fast that's chugging along. Let's go ahead and build it up. Take one last look at it. So we've got all of our inputs on the bottom. We've got our maintenance on top. We do not have a maintenance hatch. That was the other thing we forgot. So we need our maintenance hatch. And the bright side with this is because we also got our superconductors up, we'll be able to replace all the cables that I put to use these items with superconductors here in the future. I do think I'm going to move this to the back, so it's not going to actually be hooked up to power yet. So I think off screen I'm going to add another engine up so that we can run this off of its own thing, because it is going to consume the full 4 EV energy that it's going to take. make that ivy. So let's go on right over here. This is where I would like to place it, is right here. So we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should be perfect. I'll place it 2 back. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That does actually have to come forward, though. Not that I mind too much. We'll place it right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll have 2 block space in between the turbine and the actual smelter. So, input bus. We're going to want that on front, as this is something that we're going to want to control what we're inputting. The same with this one. Now, we can put both our energy hatches on the back. Go ahead and fill in the 3x3 in the center. We're going to want our energy hatches on the back, as that is where that's going to come out. We'll take our output hatch and we'll put it right on over here. And then we can just start filling up the rest of it with the items that we need to. So the rest of the bottom tier must be filled out. We get our RTM coils. Oh, I was thinking double layered for a second, but it's not. We now need these heat vents. So it is important to make sure that we have these available here. And that will actually, like, without it, the structure won't form, so it's super important. And then we go around, quit placing them in the wrong spots, and we'll be fine. And then put our maintenance hatch right up front like it has it, because it's nice to be able to access that when we need to. And start putting our high temperature things around so we can get the muffler hatch directly in the center. Right on there. There we go. There is our muffler hat. Our alloy blast smelter. Oh, this is a pretty cool machine. I was like, this is something I was excited to get to this area, because multi-block structures, I find multi-block structures like this, and even though it's so simple, the tower behind me, it just makes it look like a factory once you start getting these multi-block structures in. And I know that all these people say, "Oh, Create's so cool," or these newer ones that do these different shapes and everything, but like, thing is they're so tiny in what they can do, specifically because they do so much of the, we're gonna make it look a certain way before they actually, like, you know, make the mod do cool things. So it's one of those things. Plus, this also, you gotta also remember, this started back when making stuff like this was super difficult. So now I can start taking my uranium and going over to get some superconductor cables. So let's go do that. This will actually help us save on resources, and if I can remember where everything is, get there faster. But so this definitely looks like it takes a lot longer than all the other ones, but there we go. Our EV superconductors. And crazy, they can hold 6 amperage. So that's actually pretty nice, meaning that a doubled cable can hold 12. So a doubled cable could literally hold 3 of those large generators worth of power through them. So I think this is where we could realistically start doing a power plant in a separate location on the base. We would just need to mine a lot more uranite so that we can... And actually, I don't even think we need to mine the uranite. I think I just need to convert it over, because I should have stuff downstairs in a... Yeah. Go both pitch blende and uranite, which means we can actually use that stuff to make way more of that. thought I had only a limited amount, and I didn't realize that, like, I think I only macerated one stat for the video I was trying to make last time that squashed him. Didn't record, sadly. But I do know the other thing I ended up doing in that time is we now have ourselves this. So this is taking our wood tar, and we've now got phenol. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to start putting charcoal byproduct through. I know somebody made a comment earlier that I shouldn't be using the charcoal byproduct. I should be using the recipe to make the wood tar directly. But there was actually two reasons I didn't. The wood tar recipe itself, if I go over and show you in the distillery for wood tar. So the wood tar recipe in the pyrolysine oven only creates 1.5 buckets for the same amount in the same time. Whereas if you go over to the distillery, this will take 1 bucket of that, and it will create only 1 bucket of wood tar from the 4 that we get here. So while it is a loss of 500 millibuckets, the fact that we gain the opportunity to use wood vinegar, and that we can even expand it to get these two later on, which I'll be doing pretty soon, especially since we've already been getting some dimethylbenzene, then we can actually use those products to make some of the stuff that we need to in the future. And then wood gas itself, not there, wood gas itself can even be distilled down into some useful products as well, or used directly in the turbine as just another power source. So this could possibly be even rerouted directly back into its own thing to power its production. Which is one of the things I think is kind of crazy about doing stuff like this, is you can straight up take some of the benzene out of the production and go, okay, well, I don't want to pump back the other power. Let's go ahead and just pump this directly into the machine. Now, because I'm making the upgraded benzene, I don't want to do that. It just doesn't seem like it's worth the time. But that was the other thing I was trying to show off last time that I recorded, but the episode didn't work. So, like, I had an issue. I lost the video. It's frustrating. So, but now we can upgrade this over to here. What are we? Is this running? What is this running and doing? Oh, we're getting into our caliprite now. Nice. They're getting some more rhodium, some more rutile. Or not rhodium, not rutile. Ruthium. Ruthinum. All of that good stuff. And then we actually need to get moving on to IV pretty soon, because look at this metal mixture case. Pretty full. But now we can actually craft up a couple of these. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. Is that right? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Boom. Now, looks like this is all off, so we can go ahead and start taking this apart. And the reason that I wanted to get these done in this manner, stuff getting piped up over here. It's not the right amount. We'll figure that out in a second. Mildly annoying. No, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we have our wonderful superconductors powering this stuff over here. There, and that one up there. Now, the question is, why is this thing not doing its job? So that's only supposed to supply the amount required. Use and a chemical, yeah. So I don't know why it supplied 6. But there we go. All of that is set up. And now I just got to get another one of those generators set up, like I said. So we can power that thing behind me and start using it for better production. Let's look at, I believe right here, we got the Greg... Oh, it's not going to be... this is also why I didn't want to power it. So we got the Gregtech multi-blocks. We've made it so far. If you want a big boost in your processing abilities, look no further than these powerful multi-blocks, formerly known as Gregtech multi-blocks. The add-on has been fully integrated into Gregtech CEU Modern. You'll need to make use of many new alloys to build a new multi-blocks. Yay, more content. This is exactly what I was talking about, though. I didn't even realize that. This quest unlocks a new tutorial on GCYM mechanics. In the Tips and Tricks tab, check it out to learn more. But there's that, and then we just have to go grab the alloy smelter. So we can pick that up, finish that quest, and then we'll take a look at that too. Done. So, back to the book, or the quests. The Alloy Blast Smelter is the only main GCYM machine available in EV. You can use it to produce any alloy that you would normally use the mixer for. So that's the point that I was talking about. If you do not need the mixer, you cannot craft it in the Alloy Smelter. So that is important. But instead of producing hot ingots, the ABS produces molten fluids. If the recipe is hot enough, these fluids require cooling with the vacuum freezer, otherwise it produces regular liquids. Don't let the long smelting times scare you off. This machine incorporates the mixer step directly into the smelting recipe, and actually saves you quite a bit of time over the smelting of dust in an EBF. Nearly every GCYM material is produced in this machine, so if you have trouble finding a mixer recipe, look for a molten fluid. So this is something that is important, because this is where you start to find things that you cannot craft otherwise without this block. As there is a recipe to smelt it down, or to like mix it on occasion, but you cannot craft it into a bar using the EBF. This is something I found just looking through. I can't remember like exact what item it was that I found, but I was looking through some of the different multi-blocks, and I think the one I was looking at the most was a washer. So if you get over here to the large chemical bath, and to make the large chemical bath, you just need these items, and you need this thing. Well, here's the deal. This watertight casing requires watertight steel. The only way to make it is through the molten watertight thing. As if you do this, you go, okay, there's the ingot. There's no mixer recipe. The only way to get dust is to macerate it back down. So this is where it was. It's the watertight steel. Your only way to get it is through the molten process. And so there you go. There's the recipe. You put your iron, chromium, aluminum, nickel, and sulfur all in there. And then you use large chunks of helium to change that speed to a much faster speed. So this is definitely stuff that I'll try to do most of this off camera, as I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to wait 300 seconds for me to smelt down. I think it produces the same amount of ingots as dust. So if you get that 7, 8, 9... 11, 15 ingots worth of material in 5 minutes. So, which, did it say RTM alloys? I think it said RTM. So yeah, so I'm not even going to get a speed boost. I'll get a speed boost of a little bit. So instead of, 3 minutes, it'd be 105 seconds if I do the helium. But I have to go set up a process to get ender ear piped Ender air piped over here for that. Pretty cool having our very first block that's going to help speed up processes, because this will outright replace the mixer. I don't know if I'm going to be too much of piping liquids into this automatically. I know that one of the things that we've got to get going for next episode is going to require us to, or is going to solve the issue that I have where we actually might be able to start putting this on the back. But I'll have to see what I can do about it. I don't want to spoil it because I'm not sure if that's going to be the next thing we're going to work on. But I'm excited because this fixes a lot of speed and other issues once we start getting into EV. And the last thing we actually got to do, and this is probably what's going to have to come first before the other thing I was thinking about, is we need to start getting towards our processing. So Ender Air is probably going to become a priority, as radon is something that we need to get to our circuits. We need radon, we've got the phenol, and we're going to need the epichlorohydrin. And then we can move on to our newer circuits and move deeper into IV with that. So, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're enjoyed this episode, and please leave a like. I would very much appreciate it. Have a great day, guys, and bye!